Welcome to the Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place. Here to challenge you to think out of the box, your hosts, Felipe Mejia and Diego Corzo.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Rat Race to 5 podcast. We have an awesome guest today, another awesome and amazing Hawaiian. We have Stacey Johnson, who talks about losing $30,000 on her first flip to now on the road to making $500,000 net this year. It's an amazing story, so make sure you stay tuned to the end.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is how she's literally like 25, 26 years old. And it's crazy what she has accomplished at a young age. Yep. And also the mindset that she's trying to basically to change within her family and her peer group to be able to achieve the life of her dreams. So this is an amazing podcast and cannot wait for the audience to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Diego, you and I were in the back of an Uber one day in, I forgot what city. And we talked about how everyone is looking for financial independence, but few are looking for financial impact, which is what sounds like Stacey wants to do. All right, guys, before we get to Stacey, just a quick commercial break here. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Felipe. Remember, at reicallcenter.com, you can get a professional cold caller for $1,099 a month that can do up to 16,000 phone calls for you to help you find off-market deals, potential flips, wholesales, or if you're an agent, more listings for yourself. Again, that's reicallcenter.com. All right, let's get started. Oh, that was pretty good. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Rat Race to 5 podcast. We have an amazing guest today, Miss Stacey Johnson. Super excited to hear her story. Before we get to you, though, Stacey, Diego, how are you, my guy? How you doing?
What's up? What's up? Good to connect.
I know. I'm excited. Except people don't realize that we had a podcast this morning, so we actually connected like a couple hours ago.
Yes, but just so that the audience know, Felipe, you just got back from Phoenix, right? That Limitless event.
Yes, I was at the event. It was super dope. Stacey, you weren't there, were you?
No, I wasn't. I saw your reel this morning, though.
Oh, with Thatch?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't notice
awesome.
How I didn't say his name because I didn't want to say it wrong.
Oh, some people say Thack or like it's Thatch. Yeah. So I'm gonna be 100% honest, Stacey. Like the way I figured it out was I listened to someone else say his name.
Yep, exactly.
Because he doesn't ever say his name, but he's actually a really good dude. He's a nice, humble guy. You can tell that he has a genuine heart to educate, because the whole time he was there, he was just dropping knowledge on people. Like that's genuinely what he was doing, whether it was one person or on stage, the energy was the same. And I was really surprised because as an educator myself, the mastermind that we own, Diego and I, with Rat Race to 5, I never wanted to become anything but like our passion to give back. And you can tell Thatch just oozes that, because he was talking to one person in the corner or to the whole stage, same energy across the board. Blew my mind.
Got to bring that energy.
Got to, bro. Stacey, let's jump into your story. So we know you're in real estate. You have a goal of 10 properties this year. But let's take it back to the beginning, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your growing up, family, school. Kind of give us a little bit of background and we'll dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, sure thing. So I am 25 years old. I'm going to turn 26 in less than a month here, but I bought my first house at 22. No real estate background whatsoever. So I grew up in Hawaii. And when you live in Hawaii, it's a very different type of mindset, like a small town mindset where if you're chasing success, it's kind of looked down upon. To have money is evil or a bad thing. And so growing up, that was ingrained in my mind that like I can never have money, because if I become quote unquote rich, I'm going to be evil. And so it was to my benefit to get out of the island lifestyle. I love it here, don't get me wrong, but to learn something else. And so after high school, I went to UC Irvine in California, and I did the whole mechanical engineering thing, not because I wanted to do engineering, but because I was always good at math and science. And I knew I needed to do something practical if my parents were going to spend $50,000, $60,000 a year for a college education.
Right.
And so I did that whole route. I've always been a leader, like for every single sport that I've been on, I've always been like the captain, and I like to take charge. So in college, I did a lot of different things. My first time ever, I started a tutoring company where I was tutoring people in physics, high schoolers in Newport Beach. And that was the first time I ever realized that, holy cow, you can make a lot of money without a job. Because I was in Newport Beach, like these parents were sending me to their kid's house for an hour, paying me like $60, $70 just to sit there and help them with their homework. And my mind was blown. And while I was doing that, I was doing a couple other things. I was doing a research project. So that was me staring at a computer, coding half of the day. And I realized in that, I was like, there's no way I can stare at a computer for the rest of my life. I can't do this engineering thing. And so on the side, I started UC Irvine's solar race car team, where we design and build a one passenger vehicle completely powered by the sun to go across America. And in that, I realized, dude, I love being in charge of these like engineering projects. I really understand the engineering, but I don't want to be the one doing it. I just want to be in charge of it. And so I had to figure out how I was going to take this engineering degree, but not stare at a computer. And so somebody in my solar race car team, he was my mechanical lead. He was interning for a general contractor on campus at the time. And we were building a $133 million dorm tower. And he told me, he's like, hey, I think you would like this job. You want to come intern? And so I came to intern, and I realized, yeah, this is probably like the best thing for me. And so I ended up signing on with them after college and lived in LA for, I think, about 5 years after college, and just transferred jobs, but in that, not jobs, but projects, because obviously like projects end. And in that, I realized that I can't be working 80 hours a week and think that that's sustainable. If I want, I'm a girl, so I'm going to want to have kids one day. Like, how am I going to raise a family if I'm working 80 hours a week, slaving away for somebody else? And so I read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and instantly my mindset changed about just what it looked like to trade time for money or money for time. And so I started flipping houses on the side. While I was working 80 hours a week. And I was so motivated to do it that on the weekends, I would get an Airbnb in like different markets. When you're in an expensive market, you want to go to just like the outskirts, right? And so I would get an Airbnb Saturday night in each of these little markets, and I would drive out at like 4:00 in the morning on Saturday, so that 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm just like driving around, knocking on doors, trying to look for a property to buy. And I did that for, I think, 3 months before I found my first house to flip in Huntington Beach. And long story short, I ended up losing a lot of money on that first deal, but I told myself before I started that this is going to be a really, really hard journey. And my parents told me that if I ever wanted to get my master's or my PhD, that I would have to go spend that education money on my own. And so I looked at it in a way that if my parents can spend $200,000 on my college education, and it put me at this platform to be able to make good money as an engineer and be able to like make mistakes on the side and doing whatever I wanted to pursue, it was going to be okay if I lost my childhood savings from like 3rd grade. I never spent any of my money. Like, I literally every birthday I would just throw it in this savings. I've always been super, super frugal. And I watched my dad and my mom, they're both immigrants, and I just watched them come here and build something of themselves. And so I knew that if they could do that, then the platform that I'm standing on, I can do so much more.
Yeah,
And
it's kind of that concept of like our parents didn't come this far for us to just come this far, right?
Exactly.
Diego have said that before, but let's take it back because there's a lot to unravel there.
There was a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to. I didn't want to cut you off, but there's a lot there. So back to like college. So you were working on these projects, and then you said something, and she said, "I just started flipping houses on the side." So Stacey, I don't know how long you've been in real estate, but you kind of just don't flip real estate on the side. So I know that's a full-time job. Like that's not just like, oh, I'll do that 2 hours a day on the weekends. Tell us a little bit more about how you fell into flipping houses. Like, how did you find the deal? Who did you network? How did you take it down? Like, let's get into the sauce a little bit about flipping the properties on the side. And by the way, that's definitely going in the show notes. Stacey claims that she flipped properties on the side.
Yeah. And honestly, like that whole experience has made me I don't want to say heartless, but I have like no room for excuses, especially when it comes to people who reach out to me on social media, because I was working 80 hours a week. And so when I say I flipped houses on the side, so I like I said, on the weekends, I would literally drive around from sun up to sundown looking for a house, and I was specifically looking for mobile homes. I knew that when I was going to start this new journey, I needed to be around a community of people that were already doing it. And so I remember going to my first meetup in Orange County, and I walk into this meetup. It was a women's real estate network meetup. And I was the youngest one in the room. And all these people like so much older than me. And I just felt like this little kid. But what I did was after the meetup, I went up to the person that was running it. And I was just like introducing myself, telling them about what I was trying to do. And she told me that she needed to move that weekend. She was like, hey, I'm actually gonna rent a truck this weekend and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, I have a truck. Let me move out all of your stuff. Like, let me just come hang out with you. I'll bring my truck. We can use it all day. All I want to do is just hang out. Like, I'm not asking for anything. And instantly I was in her inner circle. And that gave me the confidence to jump in because I knew that there was somebody I could ask questions to. And so in that, after that whole experience, that's when I started driving around and looking for deals. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's really cool because like being able to come from the side of like wanting to help somebody, right? Being able from seeing an opportunity where you can serve first before you ask. I was in a room a little bit similar to that back in 2014. And that fear of like, holy crap, like I don't know anybody, I'm the youngest one in the room. So yeah, this is awesome. I love your story. So please continue.
And so I always tell people who are like, I don't know what value I can bring. I don't know what value I can bring. I don't know anything about real estate. I'm like, it doesn't even have to be about real estate. The guy who works for me now, he was managing my entire Turo fleet when I was first getting started. And that's the only reason why I hired him as my full-time real estate guy. And so I always tell people that like, figure out what they need and try to fill that need, whether it's driving them around, picking up materials, whatever. But I got into her inner circle, started looking for deals, and because I was in an expensive market and I didn't know what I was doing, I went for mobile homes specifically so I could buy them cash with my own money. I knew that I could buy stuff with other people's money, but I needed this to be a proven concept before I went and used other people's money. And I obviously didn't prove it to myself that it was a proven concept, but I learned so much on that first deal. And I just remember after I finished it, I took a step back and I reminded myself like why I even got started. and ask myself, like, what's the number one thing that I was missing? And it was not having a mentor. Yes, I did have that girl that I could ask questions, but I think the idea of paying for mentorship gives you the permission to bother them so much. I was so nervous about bothering her with all my, low life questions because I wasn't providing enough value per se.
That's interesting. From the beginning, like Diego was saying, adding value versus asking for something, I think is huge. And like putting yourself in the room and then waiting for the opportunity to add value, I think is huge, because most people will find themselves in a room and say, and almost have the mentality of like, I took my first step by being here, which, like, if you did that and you're just looking for somebody to help you, that's fine. But you got to find a way to add value to those that are in the room for you to be noticed. You might get a question answered, but if you really want an actionable step from somebody that's where you'd like to be, you have to find a way to add value. And most people that are in the position that you want to be, money probably isn't the motivator. It's probably going to be a way to give them back time. Right. So like you were like, oh, I can provide you with a truck. I can help you move. It was just a certain situation in that moment that you can be around this person for a longer period of time by providing a value. And in this case, it was just a moving vehicle. Right. So that's huge.
And labor.
And free labor.
I got breakfast.
There you go. You got breakfast. So tell us about the process of flipping the property. Give us some of the numbers, some of the details, and some of the lessons learned, if that's okay with you.
Yep. So that first house, don't quote me on this, is 3 years ago, so I don't know exactly, but I think I bought it for $12,000. I remember putting in like $13,000 worth of work, and my holding costs on it was close to $3,000 a month because it was near the beach, and the lot rent was just really, really expensive.
Right.
And when I had calculated the numbers, get this, I didn't even calculate, oh, what's my ARV? How much am I going to make on this? I calculated if I end up holding this property for too long, like at what point am I going to go under? Based off of like how much I was paying, how much savings I had, and then also how much money I was making from my full-time job. But during that process, I knew that my background was in commercial construction. And so I wanted to learn how to fix a residential house, even though a mobile home isn't necessarily the same as a regular house. It's pretty similar. And even the houses in Hawaii are so similar to mobile homes. So it's just coming full circle. But I did all of the work, or except for the windows, myself on that property. I remember telling some guy on my job site, because I used to work on the field. I was a field engineer. And I remember telling him about like an old uncle, about what I was doing. He had a daughter the same age as me. And he's like, dude, let's go check it out. I remember it was Friday afternoon, super late in the afternoon. We were the only ones left on the job site because he hadn't hit a deadline and he needed to be there. And so I had to be on site to watch him or like be there. And I was telling him about what I was doing. He's like, oh, let's go check it out. I swear I didn't sleep at all the night before, but I was like, dude, this is like the greatest opportunity of a lifetime. I got to go right now. And so we go to the job site or my project, and he's just like, dude, I'll help you flip this whole thing. Let me teach you how to do it. And so the worst thing I did was change out a P-trap. It was the grossest thing ever. Oh man, dude, I never want to do that ever again.
That's hilarious. So at the end of it, what did the numbers look like? Give us a little bit of that.
Yeah, so I ended up selling it for $20,000 and I lost $30,000.
After all that work and time, you lost 20 grand. How did that
30.
Feel? Oh, 30. Sorry.
30.
Go ahead, Diego.
Oh, I was gonna say that same question. How did you feel on that first deal with the money that you lost?
To be honest, I told myself it was going to be okay. And I know that it costs money to learn. I knew that going into this, I had a long-term mindset. Yes, it hurt, but money goes in and out all the time. If you have a hold on money, that's when it's going to hold you hostage. So faith is huge for me, and like tithing is huge for me. And I remember during that time, like right before I started my flip, I had committed that I was going to tithe even more. And at one point when I was right about to go into the reds on that property, I was like, okay, I can reduce my tithe and probably be better off, but I didn't let myself do that. And so I think the biggest thing is just like understanding your why and not having a hold on money, like knowing that it comes in and out. So I wasn't super hurt about it. Obviously it took a hit on my ego a little bit, but I just got back up and tried again, but this time with a mentor.
So you took 30 grand to the chin. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like that's a strong, I know, right? That's a strong lesson. You were talking about your tithe. You know the Bible verse, Malachi 3:10?
You have to remind me.
So Malachi 3:10 talks about bring the whole tithe into the storehouse so that there may be food in my house. And it's funny because growing up, I always thought in church where like the pastor would say, oh, you can't test God. You shouldn't test God, right? Like I know Satan says this to Jesus on the mountain, but in the Bible verse in Malachi 3:10, God says, test me in this, says the Lord, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven over you. So God tells us to test him with his tithes. So it's no surprise to me that the rest of your story is a successful one. And it will be going forward because you've stayed faithful to that tithe, right? You're like, you made a promise to yourself. And if we get off the religious side about this, there's something also empowering about keeping your word to yourself, whether it's I'm going to eat healthier this month so I can lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to keep tithing whether I make money on this or not. There is something powerful, mentally breakthrough, where you keep your word to yourself through these type of situations that separates those who win versus, in my opinion, those who quit, right? Like you said, you changed a P trap, you lost 30 grand, and you still kept the promise to yourself of tithing. Now we're going to fail. Sure. We all fail. Yeah. But if you try to keep your word to yourself, there's something powerful. There's like that mental strength there. Your why has to be stronger than that P trap, than that 30 grand you lost, and so forth and so on. Right. So that's huge in my opinion. Congratulations. You kind of broke through that. I bet that was hard. I'm sure it was really hard.
Yeah, it was definitely hard, but I knew that was like the education that I needed to pay for to move forward from this.
So you said you had a mentor on the second one. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that went?
Yeah. So social media is so powerful. I found the best mobile home flipper in the nation and paid for his most expensive program so that anytime I had a question, literally he had like a step-by-step, and after every single step I would call him, hey, here's what I did. What do I do next? And it was like a profit split on that as well. But I mean, I brought him so many deals that we analyzed together. He walked me through how to talk to the sellers. But the second one that I found was when I was working in LA, and it was like 2 hours away from where I was working. Mind you, I'm still working 80 hours a week. And I ended up buying that for $7,500. I think I put $9,000 into it, and I ended up selling it for $25,000. I remember making $5,000 on that deal. It was like a 20% return, but it wasn't a lot. But it then instantly clicked that okay, this is a proven process. I can do this. But during that time, I was working, and I swear I had every single doctor in the book to go to this project. If my contractor had an emergency and I needed to go there, I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling so good. And honestly, like a lot of my coworkers knew what I was doing during that time. I kind of kept it a secret from my bosses, but they all knew what I was doing. And some of them hit me up today and they're like, how do I do that? But it's funny because on the weekends, they would always give me crap about not going out with them. They're like, dude, we make so much money. Like, why wouldn't you just come out and have a drink with us or whatever? I'm like, dude, I just have different goals. Like, I don't want to spend my money on that. Like, I use the same super, like those Amazon mattresses that are super thin. I use that for a long time because I did not want to spend money on like a good mattress, or I've just always been really frugal, and it's helped me get to this point. But I know that that's going to be a mindset barrier soon as well, that I'm going to have to get past. Like, stop being frugal. You need to spend money to make money.
That's true. I'm going to get back to your real estate because I want to know where you're at now. But before we do that, talking about being frugal, Diego has like I've spent the night over at Diego's apartment when we do like masterminding stuff together, or we go over businesses. And he has this like nice blow up mattress that I'll sleep on. But I'll go in there and I'll tuck Diego in, we can make sure I read him a bedtime story. But this is interesting because Diego doesn't sleep with a pillow. So he has like this nice setup in his bed or whatever, but he sleeps flat like this.
So do I, Diego.
Wait, you do? You don't sleep with a pillow either?
It's because my back is bad.
Bro,
like
what is that? I can't, like, what is wrong with you guys? Diego looks like a mummy or something like this, bro. Like,
just sleeping.
I can't do it, man. I was like, Diego, that's wild. He throws all his pillows whenever he sleeps flat.
Dude, I do the same thing.
What? That's crazy.
That's so funny.
Diego, have you done that since you were little?
I don't remember. I just slept because I would sometimes sleep with a pillow and then my neck will hurt the next day.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm good. I don't need to have. Yeah,
that was wild. I got to figure that one out. I sleep with a big old fat pillow. Like, I don't know. That's funny. All right, Stacey. So where are you at now? So you've gone through these lessons. You've learned that. Are you in the middle of a flip now? What's your most recent deal? Give us a little bit more of up to date what you're doing now.
So right now, since then I've moved to Hawaii. So just to like give you a brief, quick 2-minute of why I even moved to Hawaii was because like during that second flip, I found out that my mom had cancer.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
She's good now, so it's all good. But I found out my mom had cancer, and so the company that I worked for.
That's not funny, Stacey. You kind of freaked me out there.
Sorry,
like I didn't. You were like, she's good now. Like you should.
She's good now. She's good.
Okay.
Now. It's all gone. It's all gone.
Okay. Thank God. But, let's go.
Found out my mom had cancer. I had to transfer to move to Hawaii to be there. And during that time, I was still working 80 hours a week. And so I had to ask myself, like, what am I doing here? Why did I even come home if I can't even take my mom to chemo or whatever, like be there for my family and be there around the house? And so long story short, I ended up quitting, taking a huge leap of faith and quitting that job. And I mean, my whole family ridiculed me for it, and they still ridicule me to this day. But that jump started the journey of flipping in Hawaii. And now, since then, it took me 6 months of just like grinding it out, cold calling, whatnot, to find that first condo flip. And since then, I've sold that one.
What'd you make on the first one back in Hawaii?
$40K. I bought that one for $179 and sold it for $265. Put in $20,000 worth of work.
Let's go.
Get this. Awesome. That condo was 360 square feet.
Like
it was a studio.
Bro.
and buying it for 180, I think as is, it appraised at 240 before I flipped it. So lots of lessons learned on that one. I probably shouldn't even have put the money into it. I probably should have just threw it back on the market. But yeah, but I've wholesaled 2 deals this year. I sold that condo, and I have 2 on the market right now, and then 2 I'm working on right now.
What are you going to make on the 2 that are on the market?
So the one that I didn't even flip it. It was a wholesale. I just put it back on the market as is because the seller was asking pretty high, but it worked as a wholesale. That one, since the market shifted, I'm not really sure what I'm going to make on that. I might break even. We'll see. But this other one that I got from social media, I'll probably make like 150 on it.
Sheesh.
I bought that one for 350 and it appraised as is for 550.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's
How did you find that one on social media?
Someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have a deal in Hawaii. Do you want to go on this appointment?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I want to go on this appointment." And I remember telling him, I was like, "Hey dude, like I have to be at 350, 390 max." He's like, "Well, he's asking $500,000, like 550. It's like, I don't really know if it's worth it for me to go on this appointment. But you know what? I have a new sales guy. I want him to learn how to go on appointments. Let's just go on it." So we go on it, and literally like my sales guy is driving, and in the car the whole way I'm staring at the ocean and I'm just praying. I'm like, "God, if this deal is from you, make a way, because there's no way right now." And I remember talking to the seller, and he walks out, no shirt, food in his mouth,
Ew.
just like super Hawaiian uncle. And I was like, "Oh, this is it. It's on, dude. I'm definitely going to connect with this guy." And I shared with him about like my vision to create affordable housing for the local people. And we connected so well that he took me on a field trip. He's in charge of like the Hawaiian homelands out there, and they have a bunch of pieces of land that they want to build houses on. And we went on a field trip, went to all these pieces of land. And when we came back, I was like, "Uncle, what about this one? Like, I know you're asking $500,000. I know a lot of people in the mainland are willing to give you this much, but here's where I have to be at. I have to be at like 350. And he just looks at me and he's like, "You know what? For you, I'll do it."
What?
And yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. And so just like kind of reiterating on your point, as far as like being faithful to that tithe, I can see how just doing that, God's providing in the now.
That's amazing. So you got that property under contract. What's the vision with that property? Did you mention what you want to do with it? Or is it going to list it?
Yeah, it's on the market now.
Okay. Nice. So you said something about the market shifting a little bit. How have you got, and I don't mean to sway this way, but how are you guys feeling this over in Hawaii?
We're feeling it in a sense that things aren't just flying off the market anymore and getting 20 offers over asking. Like I only got 1 offer, so I listed my 1 property that I have that I'm going to sell soon, in April. And instantly I got over asking. All of a sudden interest rates hit and all these people fall out of escrow. I went into escrow twice over asking, and they both backed out. And now it started sitting, and then I had to price drop, and now I'm in escrow for $50K under what I originally listed it for. Plus they were asking for a $40,000 seller credit, which destroyed me. But I told them no. I was like, if that's the case, like I'm just gonna rent it out or whatever.
So you could just keep it and rent it at that point, right? Maybe just refi.
Exactly. But the issue is that in Hawaii, that doesn't really work still.
Okay. Because the rents aren't high enough, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
yeah, that's how I'm feeling it right now.
how are you guys taking these deals down?
Hard money and private money.
Okay, so you're just
So
raising capital.
yeah, so now I don't use any of my own money,
Good for you.
especially with social media. People like most of my private money lenders, I've never met them in person, and they just wire it straight to my account.
Let's go.
And to get that private money or that hard money too, what is like the package that you send them? Like, is it based on comps, like what the ARV will look like, or like what does that underwriting go through?
Yeah, I have like a 4-page executive summary that includes comps, what exactly my scope of work is, how is their money being used, what does the property look like currently, and just all the financials of what they need to know about how their money is being used and how much they're going to get.
Perfect.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice. So Stacey, it sounds like you have a great business plan and a great strategy that you want to use going forward to continue to take deals down. We talked a little bit about your past. We talked a little bit about what you're doing now. Talk about what you want to do in the future and what your goals are for the rest of this year.
For the rest of this year, my goal is 500,000 in net profit. That looks like an average of 50K per deal and 10 deals, depending on if it's a condo or a single family. I mean, on average for a single family house, you really shouldn't be making less than 100K in Hawaii. But that's just like wholesale or flipping. Now
how many
that the
cold
market,
callers did you say you have?
4.
You have 4. Okay, so you hire out cold callers. You pull a list. They cold call it for you. See if they want to sell the property. Just the whole wholesaling mentality, and probably flip or keep the best or whatever.
Yeah. So right now, because the market is shifting and I'm seeing both of my properties sit, I want to move more towards wholesaling. And originally when I had started this, honestly, like all I wanted to do was wholesale. But I noticed that in Hawaii specifically, not a lot of people wholesale. Whenever they come across a deal, they usually take it down because it's so hard to come across deals out here.
Yeah.
But I don't really care if I make less. The risk is less, and hopefully I can do more volume in wholesaling because those VAs just started last Wednesday.
Yeah. Do you know Kamahai out there in Nashville? Or I'm sorry, in Hawaii?
Yeah.
So
they were the first people I ever gave private money to.
Oh, you gave them private money?
Yeah, my parents. For my
Nice.
parents.
Yeah, Kamahai and them are cool. They use our cold callers over at REI Call Center. So they have a cold caller. I think we got them like 21 leads in like the first 2 or 3 weeks of
That's
using our
so
services. So,
Crazy.
yeah. I think they have one in escrow right now. I don't want to speak for them, but I think they've been with us for about a month and a half, and they have got a couple of deals going on.
Yeah, they're great people. They're huge in our community out here in Hawaii. Our community in Hawaii is something else. Like when I was investing in California, there is no community like the community in Hawaii.
Right. Yeah, they're awesome people. I love their social media content. Diego and I have like talked many times about going out to Hawaii. We need to. You guys have such a cool community. We need to go out there and just show some love.
Because you're actually our 4th Hawaiian interviewed on this podcast. So
Tristan, Kamahai, and Zasha.
Tristan,
Kamahai,
Sasha, and Tariba.
So you're 5.
Oh, okay.
So you're 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you say her name?
Tariba.
Is this call her Tay?
No. Stacey. Say it, Stacey.
Tay.
Oh, I thought you guys called her Tereva as well. So Tay, I'm gonna text her that. She's awesome.
Yeah,
she's a rock star too. So
Yes.
I know that you guys' community is tight. Diego, we definitely need to make a trip out there, dude. Like I know it's like halfway around the world, but we need to figure that out.
We do.
Stacey, so those are your goals. That's what you want to do. I see on your page on your Instagram that you also help other investors and that you've coached and that you kind of give stories. Where did your passion for teaching other people how to do this come from, or why do you do that?
I think specifically in Hawaii, like I said, the mindset is that people who make money are evil.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a lot to get over that hump. And I want to help other people here to realize that like you don't have to work 4 or 5 jobs just to make ends meet here.
Right.
When I was first getting started, I started a Turo fleet to supplement my marketing expenses, and that was like a part-time job, and I made the same amount of money that I was making at my engineering job. So I get really passionate about just like helping the local people here get over that hump, especially like knowing that I didn't come from a lot of money. My parents are immigrants. So if I can do it, then so can other people. And another thing is like, I'm so young that I know that that's another barrier that people have is like, oh, I'm too young, but people don't realize that that's your biggest asset is that you're young and not only time, but people are willing to help you. You don't have to act like you know everything. Like, even to these sellers on the phone, they're like, oh, you sound really young. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm pretty new here and I need to ask.
Yeah, right. I would read right through that, Stacey. I'd be like, shut up. You're trying to get my equity. Get up out of here.
That's because you know sales. But...
It's like I've done this before.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's classic. Man,
that's cool.
That's an amazing story, Stacey. You've clearly come a long way from losing 30 grand to on the road to make $500,000, and then just everything in between, helping people, what you want to do with flipping. What about buying and holding? Are you interested in rentals at all?
Yeah, so obviously I need capital to get some rentals, but I went to Des Moines, Iowa last month. And so I'm going to look into that market or Columbus.
Nice. Just stay out of Nashville, stay out of Tennessee, stay out of Georgia, stay out of Florida and Texas. Those places suck.
Right.
Just stay out of our backyard.
Okay,
Stacey comes in, it's over.
She's going to call all of the sellers. Hey, I'm 25 years old. I'm looking to buy something. And then boom, she owns half the city later.
No,
that's exciting though. But like starting out at a young age, being able to accomplish what you've done so far and the hunger that you have and the willingness to help other people too. I'm super excited for you. Especially with everything with what sometimes your family members might be like, why are you so obsessed with doing that? Or why can't you just chill, you know? So kudos to you for changing the status quo within your peer group.
Agreed.
We're breaking generational curses out here.
Let's go.
Exactly. That's awesome. So where can people find you?
Instagram is probably the best place to hit me up at Real Stacey.
At Real Stacey.
Your girl does real estate and my name is Stacey.
I love it. I love this.
That was hilarious. All right, one more time, Stacey. Cool. What was that Instagram?
At Real Stacey.
Real Stacey. So cool.
That's awesome.
Stacey, thank you so much for coming to hang out with Diego and I for here 45 minutes. It was super awesome. Tons of bombs in this and grit and getting through this stuff. So congratulations on where you're at. I can't wait to record you again in 4 or 5 years. And you're just going to own half of Hawaii and give out like tons of affordable living for people. I think that's awesome. Come high and then we'll own the other half so you guys can.
Let's go.
I love it. Stacey, I promise you that Diego and I will be out to Hawaii soon. Hopefully sometime this year. We want to get out there and connect with all the native Hawaiians, all the amazing people out there. So we will get out.
Let me know if you guys need a car. It's on me.
Hey, it's Turo, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. We'll do that. I heard a hack, Stacey. I'm going to go to Home Depot and order one of their trucks.
No.
Right.
No.
All right,
hard
Stacey.
no.
That's a solid no.
Oh man.
Or I'm going to pay the $3,000 a day for the red Jeep hardtop that all the visitors get.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Stacey, thank you so much, girl. Get out of here.
Yeah, appreciate
Love you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
The Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place.